Right now I'm at the south end of downtown Corvallis and about to cross the Marys River and go to Southtown, Corvallis. And this area, along with being cut off by the river, it's cut off by these two highways and all these highway interchanges. Just kind of a big knot of development that kind of makes a barrier. And right now I'm walking under US Highway 20, I believe. And this road goes from the Oregon coast, goes that direction, through Albany, Lebanon, Sweet Home, over the Cascades into Bend, and eventually this is the trail through the middle of the Boston Common. Ends at about a block from the Boston State House, or the Massachusetts State House. But we won't be going that far today. We're just going into Southtown. And this path is the easy way to go. If you come from the other direction, you have to kind of cross that entrance, that interchange there along that path. So this is not really a pedestrian-friendly place, to say the least. There's the Marys River. Getting fuller after a dry summer. These camps over there are former camps. A lot of half-used land in this area. And I actually didn't take the road I wanted to take. I still might have to like cross over something tricky to get back on 3rd Street. Right here we have the first alternative natural food co-op. Interesting story in my own life. I probably first came to Corvallis and came to this co-op when I was 10 years old. And at the time, a lot of stuff that we take for granted for now is just natural consumer items were very rare and almost like this mysterious thing that you really had to travel to find. So like, you know, the idea of like organic or, you know, dairy-free cheese, organic food in general, which now is a normal consumer item. When I was 10 or 11 years old, I came here and I saw that for the first time, and it was pretty mysterious. And the other thing about that is, you know, here we have a very environmentally friendly business, and ironically, what do we have right next to it? We have this big old 4-lane highway. And we'll be seeing that some more in Southtown, which kind of there's a contradiction that there's a lot of local and niche and environmentally and community friendly businesses here next to a road that doesn't really make me think of what Corvallis is usually like. Including here we have this empty gravel lot right next to what looks to be heavy equipment sales or rental. And then right over here, we have Crystal Lake Drive. We went to Crystal Lake in the summer. And then over here, we have the Avery Park. And we went there earlier in the summer. So along with having this kind of, you know, really busy road, a lot of industrial things, we also have two very nice parks in Southtown Corvallis. Apparently pumpkins for sale. Here we have a creek, really almost more like just a ditch. Interesting thing about this creek though, I only learned this looking on a map. So in that direction the Marys River is, and the Marys River is about a couple hundred feet in that direction. And this creek raises, or you know, starts, its origin is about like 100 feet from the Marys River, and then it runs about a mile that way until joining the Willamette, right above where the Willamette, or the Marys River reaches the Willamette. And that's actually the case in Corvallis, that there's all this micro topography, and there's creeks that might be 100 feet apart, but, you know, have mouths in different rivers or miles apart. And a lot of times I don't know about that until I find a map. There's a lot of traffic on this road. This is 99 West. I've been on this road many times. This is the road that goes to Monroe, Junction City. I don't know if most of these cars are coming from further away or if they're just commuting from this area into the center of Corvallis. Since once we leave Corvallis, there's really nothing for a while or nothing substantial. I think most of these cars are local, but I could be wrong about that. And also, usually when I'm on this road, you know, when I'm going down 99 West, it's because I am returning from Monroe or Greenberry or something like that, as we've seen many times. So one thing about this area is it's not small, and there is a lot of residences here. There's no normal service grocery stores. There's a 7-Eleven. Actually, there's two 7-Elevens. There's the Co-op. There's another grocery store that we'll be seeing soon, but they are specialty or niche. So that is like one reason I wouldn't want to live here, is just because I don't want to live somewhere where I can't just, you know, walk to a grocery store. And in, you know, the main part of Corvallis where I live, we have many, many different grocery stores. And here, you have to drive to get to that stuff. Corvallis has a pretty large proportion of people from Asia, East Asia, South Asia, the Middle East. And because of that, we have this specialty grocery store. This is the other specialty grocery store in this area that sells import foods. And I'm going in there to get some tea because they have some really good tea here. It looks like I will have to cross here, because if I don't cross here, doesn't look like there's anything for a while. So we have flashing lights, and there we have our other 7-Eleven. There's two 7-Elevens along this road. And going outside of town, after we leave the residential area, there's kind of a light industrial area, the Corvallis Municipal Airport that's there. And the Corvallis Municipal Airport is not exactly, you know, O'Hare International, but there is some industry associated with it. One reason why there's all these trucks, or at least some of them. And so this area, you know, has commercial, residential, and industrial all together. And we're going to see more of the residential after I cross this road. I'm just, you know, a couple hundred feet from the road. I can still hear it behind me. And now I'm on a peaceful residential street. So a short note about the weather, because last week I was in Woodburn and it rained a lot. You know, and I want to talk about that in terms of the stereotype that Oregon is always rainy. Right now, this is what's more typical of our autumn rains. It's not like we have a storm, things aren't pouring down. We just have this light drizzle, which in some ways is even more annoying because it's like either rain or don't. But like where I can walk around and my clothing aren't going to get wet and I'm not going to get chilled, unlike Woodburn where I did get chilled. So, you know, that's just something to say about the climate of Oregon, and all is enticing and contentious topic. Sick. So one thing that's kind of a contradiction, we saw that the 99 West through the center of Southtown is kind of a busy road, not very attractive. A lot of this industrial, commercial, and that coexists with this part of Corvallis is kind of the most Corvallis part of Corvallis as far as socio and economic, or socio and political beliefs go, and economic beliefs, I guess. You know, and that there's going to be a lot of solar power, farming, a lot of signs about political and social activism here. So that's why it's kind of hard to just pin this down to one thing, because on one hand, we have the, you know, kind of grungy looking main street, and then we have, you know, nice residential neighborhood with a lot of community oriented sign, a lot of things that show environmental awareness. So here we have basically what is a farm stand just in a residential neighborhood, along with a lot of Halloween decorations and of course a flag of Ukraine. So that's the type of thing that happens in this neighborhood, which happens in a lot of Corvallis neighborhoods, but here even more so. One thing I also wish I could show, I don't like usually focusing on individual houses, feels a little bit rude, but there's a variety of houses in this neighborhood from different eras. So, you know, you have your ranch homes, a lot of looks like 60s, 70s ranch homes, and then some newer constructions, and even some what looks to be infill townhouses. And at the south end of town, we actually have some kind of pricey housing developments. So this neighborhood also has a mixture of different types of construction. And of course, this is the bus structure where I explicated the philosophy of Heidegger. So this is a public facility, but this is Coho Eco-Village Co-Housing Community. So this is a intentionally planned community. I don't know how it works exactly. I just know it exists. So I don't know if it's like communal dining, communal togetherness, or if it's just housing with common areas. I do have one opinion though, not to be too contentious, but like one question I have is, you know, a lot of this farming and living together, you know, very good. But also, like I said, this area doesn't really have good bus access. You saw a lot of cars parked out there. So even though like taking these, you know, revolutionary steps, I guess I would say, and really trying to change things, but also there's lots of nuts and bolts to environmental sustainability. And to me, a lot of times being environmental means using public transit, as people can probably see, and also having foot access to basic needs. So that is one thing that I kind of wonder about, like in projects like this, is are the little things being done as much as the big things? But that's just my opinion about something I don't really know about. So we have another farm stand here. That's two I've seen so far. And remember, this is, as you can see, just a suburban neighborhood, but I guess being a farmer is something you can do anywhere. And also a lot of books. I can't tell whether these books are free or for sale, but I do know I have a lot of books at home. But if you're in the neighborhood, looks like there's a place you can get things to read. Well, after wandering around in the no longer rain and seeing some things, looks like I'm kind of at the end of my walk back to the highway. So two things. One is I could have just made a video of the highway and it would look like, oh, this kind of sucks. Or I could have just taken a video of the farm stands and cute little residential areas, the co-housing village, and been like, look at how lovely and progressive and interesting and different this is. And the fact is that the two coexist really close to each other. So, and sometimes it's the very fact that an area is kind of in the interstices that allows experimental things to grow up. And then the other side of that to really consider is, you know, and I don't want to critique it too harshly, but, you know, you have stuff like, you know, growing your own food, farm stands, and I like those things, but sometimes I think those are more symbolic than anything because, you know, the truth is in the United States, a lot of times your food security is tied in with fossil fuel dependency. Like when you live in a neighborhood where it's a 2-mile walk to a grocery store. So even though I think stuff like that is symbolically important to build communities, I think in the United States, you know, we also really have to face how fossil fuel dependency affects our lives and changes neighborhoods, as we can see here. But that might be a little bit heavy for a Friday. And personally, I like just having a nice walk on a cool day. None of this stuff was new to me, but it was, you know, as I described it, it did become new to me. gave me some things to think about, and hopefully I'll still have some time to go on some bigger trips, but I don't know, I'm feeling kind of under the weather lately and stuff, so you know, I'm just confining myself to like a 5 or 6 mile walk. Okay, well, hopefully I'll be back next week with a new trip to somewhere new. And I've said this in semi-jest many times, and now I'm saying it a little bit more seriously. In conclusion, Corvallis is a land of contrasts.